Okay, great. Okay, let's wait 1 more minute and we get started. The screen is starting to fill up. When we reach 1,000, we start.
So we will start next year, maybe.
With artificial. Hello, Manfred. With artificial intelligence, now you can fill up the screen. Good to see you, Manfred. Okay, well, let's get started. So we have a good core number. Hello, Larissa. Good to see you all. Thank you all for joining this session of the KMGN research community. So we have not met since last December. So good to see you all, and Happy New Year. It's even a bit late, but anyway, since we have not met since last time, or Happy Easter, it might be coming a bit closer if you celebrate Easter. Great, so let me, Moria cannot be with us today. She has a workshop to deliver all day long, so she apologized for that. Let me just cover just a few slides before I leave the screen to our speaker today. So, so this research community started roughly one year ago, and the purpose is really to bring together people who are interested in various aspects of knowledge management and also interested in various aspects of research, very often much more applied than really purely theoretical type of research, but we really welcome anyone. And so the idea is to have 4 times a year someone who share his or her research in progress, or that they have already published, or something they have been thinking of or for a long time, which might not have involved any kind of data collection. It can be just a self-reflection and trying to present some new idea or new concept. So we are really, really open to any type of presentation. And so I will share with you. So we have also an online community. So we have a WhatsApp group, and I will share through the chat again, if some of you are not yet part of it. I will share with you the link to join our WhatsApp group. And we have also, I will show later on, all our events are recorded, and we have a YouTube channel just for this KMGN research community. So I really encourage you to join. So over the past year, we had 6 presentations, and like I said, all these presentations are available in our YouTube channel if you miss some of them. Now for this year, so the upcoming year, so this is the YouTube channel that I was referring to. And in the upcoming year, so we will have on our next speaker, Larissa, which is with us today on April 10th, that will talk about data thinking journey. We will have another event on June 19th. So we don't have a speaker yet. So if one of you today is interested in presenting something, please just shoot me an email after today's presentation, and I will schedule you as one of the speakers. And in the following one will be on September 19th, where we will have Stefania Mariano, who will talk about professionalization of organizational knowledge, particularly in SMEs, and that's directly based on a paper she recently published. So that's more or less the plan for the year. So once again, don't worry, even if your research is at a very early stage and you want feedback from the participant, or the goal is to discuss and to share with each other. So please don't hesitate to contact me. I'd be happy to schedule you on that particular day. So today we are very honored to have with us Beto do Valle from Brazil, that will share with us some of the thinking and work, I guess, he has been conducting on his consulting activities related to knowledge flows. But I will let Beto tell you much more about it. So once again, thank you, Beto, for being here with us today, and looking forward to your presentation. The screen is all yours.
Okay, Vincent, thank you very much. Hello, everybody. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. I'm Beto. I'm from Brazil. I live in São Paulo, Brazil. Now it's 9 o'clock here, and we have 25 degrees Celsius. It's warm here. I know it's warmer in some of your countries. And it's a pleasure to be with you, sharing some of our thoughts and experiences on knowledge management. Well, I'll share my screen, and I hope, as Vincent said, I hope this talk is a talk, not a monologue, and we can share some ideas and thoughts on a particular approach or a perspective on knowledge management on organizations. It's a very humble presentation and sharing of some of those thoughts, and I welcome very much your thoughts and your feedback and your recommendations for what we've been doing here. So I'll share my screen, and I hope to make it interactive. So we're talking about knowledge management as an integrative dynamics, how to articulate diverse organizational knowledge flows, and how to use knowledge management for that integration. For a start, just presenting myself, I'm a practitioner. I don't have an academic life, actually. Hope soon I will have some. But now I work as a consultant. I founded Impact Consulting here in Brazil. I work in knowledge management, education, and innovation since 2001. Well, I have studied I have a degree on communication and MBA focused on marketing, and some extensions on knowledge management, people management, analysis of impact of innovation, network science. And I've been working with those subjects in the organizational context. My company helps organizations to improve knowledge flows and the use of knowledge to generate results, to improve value generation. And I have the opportunity to work with some important organizations here in Brazil and some other countries as well. We'll be very glad to connect to you through LinkedIn. And here are my contact details. And I would like to know a little about you. I know I don't have time to talk too much, but I invite you to connect through this Mentimeter link. And so there you can tell me something about where do you live? Where are you speaking from right now? What city or what country? And I would like to know what's your relationship with knowledge management? Are you a practitioner, academic, both? So I will put the link here. Maybe, maybe you can access.
Yeah, I shared it already, Beto.
Thank you, Vincent. Thank you. So I will share my screen so we can Mentimeter screen so we can see where are you talking from.
So first question is city, second question is country, and third question is academic or practitioner. Is that correct?
Yes, you can You can first answer where are you speaking from. So Rio de Janeiro, Larissa, how are you? Ljubljana, Slovenia, Belgium, Brazil, Brussels. Okay, Vienna. Campinas, okay. Parma. Very good. How many are us here today? 30, okay. Well, welcome everyone. Israel, Colombia. Well, very nice to talk to so many different countries and cultures and experiences. So let's make it real talk. You can move to next question. Let me see here. Okay, I will share it with you later, okay? So thank you very much. What about your relationship with knowledge management? Are you a practitioner, academic, both, none of them? So I can get some academic feedback here without having to attend a master's degree or a doctorate. Okay, very good. Okay, thank you. So many of you have both an academic and practice experience. That's very good. So let's move on. Thank you. Please feel welcome to respond those questions. And I will open here the link for any one of you who has any comments or insights. I would appreciate if we could talk here in some brief moments with audio, with Vincent's help to manage time including. And but whatever you want to talk and want to use the chat or use the audio, please feel free, okay? And as well, the link here for comments and insights that you want to share. Well, let's get back to our key subject. Sharing the screen again. Okay. Very well. What I bring here is a result of a few years of reflecting and arguing about some key points that I wish to share with you. How does knowledge flow in organizations? I've been working with many companies and organizations, and public and private and ONGs, and I have seen that many organizations don't really seize the knowledge that flows in between their processes. Okay, so many silos, many areas that deal with knowledge but don't share, and the organization has the access to the knowledge, but they don't really use it or share it or reuse it. And it's a basic question: how does knowledge flow in organizations? What are the processes with most influence in those flows? We see that there are some processes and areas that deal directly with knowledge, processes which their key object of work is knowledge. And are they connected? Are they integrated? Is the organization generating value from all that knowledge? How can we articulate those flows for better value generation? Those questions, well, we have some underlying assumptions here. I'm speaking from a point of view, and my point of view is that knowledge really flows in the organization and in its ecosystem, and those flows participate in value generation. So if knowledge participates in value generation. It has a role in business, has a role in organizations missions. And if they have that role, they cannot be treated as a side process or a support process only. They participate in value generation, and they have to be part of business process, part of central part in business and organization management. Some processes influence knowledge flows more than others. They deal with knowledge directly. They influence knowledge. Every process uses knowledge to generate value, but some processes influence those flows in a more intense way. And for me, that's a premise for this discussion. And so we can influence knowledge flows. If some processes deal directly with knowledge and influence their flows, well, so the organization is able to influence knowledge flows. Those are underlying assumptions about what I've posing here. And trying to answer those questions, I've been arguing some basic questions like, what is the real trajectory of knowledge in the organization? We can talk for a little while here if you want to open up your mics. Where does knowledge come from? It comes from inside or outside? What are the doors or windows through which knowledge enters the organization or emerges in the organization? How does it flow? Where does it go when it flows? With what purpose? Do you have any thoughts about that? Some thoughts or ideas or comments? In audio?
If I may start here, break the ice. For me, the organization is a permeable surface. So it's coming in and coming out. Sometimes in the role of a consultant, it's coming from my organization. But before the knowledge is coming from the environment and probably from you to sustain it.
Okay, thank you, Manfred. It's come outside. It's come from consulting firms, from partners. What else?
To continue with, I would like to note when we hire new employees, we accentuate on knowledge. So we bring knowledge in Central Bank of Armenia, and as well as we elaborate knowledge inside because we train much, we send them to many trainings, we develop all the time. And as well as so knowledge goes out because there is a turnover, so we need to manage knowledge in order not to lose much knowledge that we create inside in the Central Bank of Armenia.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Anaid. Anyone else? Other thoughts? Well, very good. Thank you.
In the chat, you have one comment also, Beto.
Oh, sorry, I didn't notice. Well, thank you, Barbara. Knowledge comes from experiences of employees and the broader network of each individual employee. Yes, there is an ecosystem through which knowledge and information and trust. There's an intense flow between people inside and outside the organization. Sure. Thank you, Barbara. So, guys, going further here, I'm trying to look for those flows from an organizational point of view, and we could explore what are the processes or functions that somehow deal more directly with knowledge as an object of their actions. I've been noticing that when you try to build knowledge management processes, knowledge management initiatives, we deal with some process that already deal with knowledge in some kind of approach. Sometimes they call themselves knowledge management, but many times they don't real manage knowledge. When you think on finance management or people management or material management, when you think management, we think on something that have some strategy, processes, indicators, roles. And when we see some organizations saying that they have knowledge management inside their education or IT departments, many times we don't see those management characteristics. But somehow they deal with knowledge, they disseminate knowledge, they register, they contribute to knowledge sharing, not always in structured ways. And I've tried to structure here what I've been seeing all these years. And it's a simple framework that maybe helps us to approach what are the functions or processes that deal more intensively or directly with knowledge. And maybe they can be partners or integrated processes or maybe part of what we call knowledge management. So in any organization, we have value generation initiatives that obey to some organizational drivers, that follow some organizational drivers, and are oriented to some kind of organizational results. So any business, any organization could be described about with that value chain, value network. And there are some processes that contribute to knowledge applied to value generation activities. One of them, intelligence processes, traditionally competitive intelligence, market intelligence, research that prospects knowledge outside the organization, monitor structured knowledge or weak signals, emerging knowledge, trends, technologies. So many organizations have some process or function that looks outside and monitors information and knowledge, essentially prospects new knowledge or emerging knowledge outside the organization. Many organizations have education, corporate education, training, learning and development processes that help developing competencies and knowledge on an individual level. So those processes contribute to knowledge flow, but they focus or they emphasize individual development. Processes management. Many organizations have departments and functions responsible to systematize knowledge in the form of methods, of processes, of procedures, manuals, many formats for structured and systematized knowledge. And many organizations have innovation management processes, research and development, innovation, oriented to create new knowledge, new solutions to value generation. So those, we know that there are other processes that could be mentioned here, and you are welcome. I invite you to access the link and leave your thoughts and ideas there. Probably there are other processes that deal directly with knowledge, but here it's a syntactic view of those who mostly contribute to knowledge flow. We can go a little deeper here. When we talk about intelligence processes, we're talking about knowledge oriented to contribute to value generation activities, mainly oriented to contribute to decision making, be it on a strategic or tactical or even operational level. We're talking about processes that deal with external knowledge and information monitoring and capturing. They bring trends, emerging technologies, emerging knowledge and information from the market, from the environments, from the society. And we're typically talking about competitive intelligence departments, research or strategy departments or functions that monitor what happens outside and in the future to feed decision-making processes. When you talk about education, we're talking about contributing to individual activities with individual knowledge and competencies development, theories, concepts, methods, experiences for those individuals fields of work. And typically we're talking about training courses, learning and development programs, corporate university, and those kinds of initiatives. When you talk about processes, we're talking about structuring knowledge in the form of organizational procedures in a generic way. In a more specific way, we're talking about organizational knowledge, formalization, and institutionalization, processes, procedures, methodologies, automation, all those activities embed knowledge into organizational rules, organizational processes or procedures. And typically, we're talking about process management, quality management, BPO, and departments or functions like that, like those. If you remember anyone else, you can contribute to enrich this content and leave your comments in the link in Mentimeter. And finally, innovation management processes. We are normally speaking about knowledge creation, creation of innovative solutions, and new knowledge that structures that those solutions. We're talking about new or improved concepts, practices, processes, products, services, platforms, applications, new solutions based on new knowledge or improved knowledge. And typically, we're talking about R&D, research and development processes, marketing, innovation, product development, continuous improvement functions, and things like those. Well, those are the key processes and functions when we have been seeing the organizations dealing in a more structured way with knowledge flows. But normally, those processes or functions are not well connected, and we have a loss of opportunities in the context that I have been working with. What do you think about that? In your context, in your organization, are all those processes or functions structured and active? Should they be? What can you briefly comment here? Is it important for your organization to have those processes? Are they active right now?
Beto, if I just may pop in, I think that makes sense for me at least. I mean, there are different ways to structure that, but I think focusing on the value creation process that delivers some results and some resources that contribute to that value creation process is absolute essential. And if you do that in orange or blue, doesn't matter, but I think you captured it quite well. Yeah.
Great, thank you, my friend.
Yeah.
Other comments? Do you have those processes in your organization?
To note, yes, we have not all the processes, but we mainly accentuate on learning and development on individual level. So this is what we have at this moment. Yes, we are trying to accentuate on learning organization and knowledge management organization, but currently we are accentuating on individual level learning and development.
Okay. In most organizations, those processes, when they all exist, they have different levels of structuring or some of this heterogeneity in maturity and emphasis from each company for each of those processes, right?
So the good part of your approach is that it's compatible with the EFQM model, for example, the excellence model, or the ISO models as well, where you have the structure and it's a little bit different structure, but you know, the rest is, I think it's absolutely compatible. So I think should be no problem to align the knowledge processes.
Great. Yes, sure, there are many approaches to knowledge management and to all management functions. And maybe there are some opportunities here to better articulate those flows. That's my point of view. That's the premise here, the underlying assumption. Those questions are to provoke you to question me and to bring other approaches and other points of view. But from my experience, maybe you already know my answer for those questions. Are those knowledge flows somehow articulated? Should they be? From my point of view, mainly Brazilian and American and South American companies, normally they are not articulated, and they're dealing with a huge amount of valuable knowledge. Each of those processes or functions somehow contributes to knowledge flow to generate value, but normally they are not articulated and synergetic. They are fragmented. My question, additional questions for you, and we don't have to answer those right now, but maybe we can reflect on that. Do those processes contribute with each other? Are they connected to each other? Are they dealing with the same knowledge or subjects? Are there synergies to be exploited? Would each one contribute more if those flows were more articulated? Maybe if those flows were better articulated, each of those processes could contribute in a more qualified way to value generation, and the whole would be improved as well with better knowledge flow in our organization. And maybe this is one of the roles of knowledge management. How can KM contribute to articulate diverse knowledge flows and impact value generations? I've seen that there are opportunities here to seize the synergies, and we may help not only create new knowledge management processes and practices, but articulate those flows that already exist in organizations, and articulate them oriented to knowledge strategy with some structure. We don't need to interfere in what they do directly, but embed knowledge management into those processes. So from that point of view, knowledge management may articulate and integrate those processes, may work as an integrative dynamics. So we help those knowledge flows to improve and contribute better to value generation. We don't need to, that is very simple, very obvious, right? Yeah, and I've been, let me see if there are additional comments here.
Yes, you have a couple of comments in the chat, yes, Beto.
Okay, so I'll pick up one or another. Okay, my friend, so knowledge also comes from experts in the organization, right? Thank you, Victor. In my organization, becoming knowledge organization is stated as a strategic objective. It's a good start. Yes, I agree. But it's a start, yeah. Given space and is a must-have for success. Yes, that's a good start when the company agrees that knowledge is a key asset or a strategic driver for the company. It's a very good start. Most of our KM is focused on what we refer as technical knowledge. That's right. An example would be agriculture and food security as knowledge domain. Not sure where that fits in that model. Well, we can explore that here, Barbara. We were discussing last week how to approximate the research center to corporate university. Well, that's sure there are plenty of opportunities there. Connecting prospecting phase to the educational phase. Thais, thanks so much for sharing once again. I believe that the systems of systems is in every organization. So I agree there is an opportunity. Thank you, Thais. Yes,
Beto, if I
for
may
5
just
years.
drop in again,
See?
just would like to find out the navigation part or the strategic part. How do you decide in what direction the organization is moving? I see the results, obviously, Is it on the organizational driver part, or is strategy emerging from whatever you do within that organization? Where's the direction coming from? Or is it the center with the management word?
Great, Manfred. Normally, we in the experiences that I have some experiences to share here with you. Normally, it starts from, it can emerge from operational necessities and demands, and it may emerge from strategic drivers and challenges and aspirations. We always try to connect those points of view. So if there is an emergent demand from operations or from any areas, we try to articulate and connect. Well, how important is that for the organizational strategy, for organizational objectives? So we can redirect the demands or reinforce their relevance for the organization. So yes, the articulation of strategic demands is key here, but it's not always enough. We always have to improve and connect and even change processes and the ways that we do things here in organizations. We are mostly used to make things happen in fragmented ways, in siloed ways. So that is always a challenge. Sometimes more intensive, sometimes more easy to deal with. But as a starting point, I would emphasize four points here, 4 bullets. Knowledge management can build or provide a shared vision of the role of knowledge on value generation. That it's a very powerful reflection. What is the role of knowledge in the business strategy and organizational strategy? What role does knowledge play on value generation? That discussion is very rich and often helps companies to realize that knowledge management should not be treated as a side process or a support process. That should be treated as central business or organizational process. Develop strategic drivers for knowledge prospection, creation, development, and systematization. So if those flows interfere positively on value generation, they should be actively managed. And to be actively management with strategic drivers to making clear what do we expect from outside knowledge, from creation of new knowledge, from people development, to what do in what extent we wish to structure our procedures. And there is a negotiation with all the companies, the organization's processes. Knowledge management could or should, provide techniques, practices, and tools for each process to better contribute to the knowledge flow. So if they deal with knowledge, they should deal in a structured way or in a more effective way with that knowledge. And that is not always true with their own techniques. Frequently, there is a knowledge that is lost in, for example, innovation projects. Valuable knowledge is created and key learnings should be incorporated by the organization, but they are left in the way. So because the focus of innovation teams is the deliverable, is the prototype, is the solution. And why do we choose that approach here, that method, that ingredient? Well, that is not registered, that's not discussed, that's not shared. We have the solution, but we don't have the assets, the intangible assets or the knowledge that led us to that solution. So that is very common. And knowledge management could orchestrate and articulate efforts to seize synergies and improve effectiveness of those individual processes and of the connected processes. Does it happen in real life? I have a dozen of real experiences, and I will share some of them with you here. But I don't intend to go through all of them, just a few insights, and
Beto,
maybe we can exchange some ideas. Yes, please, Vincent.
Yes, you got a couple of additional comments in the chat if you want to rapidly go through it before you start the case study. Yeah.
Sure, thank you. So this is some work we did, says Manfred, some work we did over the last 20 years or more in Austria, Germany, and even Brazil. Well, I'm eager to know that. Thank you for sharing the link and the PDF. Thank you very much, Manfred. Nicholas, in which category could you put culture in this key? Well, I think culture is all behind, all inside that framework. That framework tries to highlight the processes that deal directly with knowledge. I think culture is embedded in all those activities. But culture is not a process that deals with knowledge. It's an emerging phenomenon, an emerging dynamics that happens all the way, and is not really controlled. It can be managed, it can be influenced, but it cannot be controlled. So I think it's a background for everything we're talking about here, Nicholas. Thank you for the question. Annie, I think it's difficult to determine strategy of knowledge without understanding the context and the relationships. I agree 100%. Establishing a strategy of innovation related to the functional area, or establish a strategy of uncovering intelligence and related to the functional area. If I understood what you mean, we cannot embed or limit those processes to those areas or functions. If it's what you said, I agree with that. I consider those organizational capabilities that most of the times are led or habilitated by structure and processes and people, but they need to be understood as organizational capabilities linked directly to strategy. Yes. Monica, I think that each employee must manage knowledge in its part of their position profile. In addition, it's necessary to have someone who has the strategic vision of organizational knowledge, like the CTO. Yes, maybe it can, Monica, be a role for a CTO, and I agree 100% that it's necessary to have knowledge strategy, knowledge vision as part of organizational strategy. I used to say with the companies we work with and the organizations we work with that KM must be the priority for someone in the organization. It cannot be the second priority for everyone. Someone has to have the responsibility to drive strategy, to deal with all the challenges of knowledge. Although knowledge management must be co-responsibility with everyone, but some people and some areas must have the responsibility to drive, to orientate, and to support knowledge flow activities. Wallace, promoting knowledge flow beyond units and departments and functions can be a bit challenging, and yet it's very challenging. Okay, well, thank you, people. And maybe he sends directly to Beto. Maybe, yes, I don't know. Oh, thank you. Yes, Manfred shared it directly with me. I didn't notice it, Manfred. If you want to share with everyone, now everyone is curious to read your paper. So
it was supposed to be a secret, but now everyone knows, Manfred.
Sorry, I didn't notice that.
No,
well, I'll share some of my experience here, my friends, and I hope to hear your experiences as well. So with that that framework in mind, I tried to collect some of our recent and some old experiences on knowledge management that somehow, in which somehow knowledge management actually worked as an integrative dynamic. So this is a case of Central Bank of Brazil. We helped the Central Bank in Brazil to develop some knowledge management solutions and activities embedded in education, corporate education processes. And here, specifically, knowledge management helped in monitoring and creation of external knowledge as a regular input for planning of corporate education programs, and also for providing teaching material for those programs. So here, knowledge management acted as a connection, an integrator between intelligence processes and educational processes, helping to prospect knowledge in order to use them on developing. Let me use where is the pointer here? Here it is. Pointer. No. Okay. Maybe you can see my mouse here, right? So, do you see my mouse?
Yes, we can see it. Yeah,
okay.
Yes, we can see it.
Here it's an initiative that was KM capability development. Our service was helping them to develop that capability so they could be autonomous in knowledge management in that application, monitoring and creation of external knowledge. And it was an initiative led by the Corporate University of the Central Bank. There was a taxonomy, there was a strategy, there was a few other knowledge management practices here, but here I'm highlighting that one that helped to connect those processes here through knowledge management. Another case of infrastructure and sanitation company here in Brazil. In this project, in this service, we connected intelligence, education, and processes management through knowledge management. Here we help that company to map emerging knowledge from external sources for each of the more than 20 organizational processes. So what's new, what's the emerging knowledge in finance management, in water control, in whatever the process of the organization, in order to plan education programs for the following 5 years. So they look 5 years ahead. What is the emerging knowledge? What should we embed into our educational programs so we can improve people development? And as a consequence, they began, it was not the scope initially, but they began to use that emerging knowledge as well as an input to processes improvement. So processes that help it to interpret those emerging knowledge, and convert it to educational programs. They realized that would be very useful for processes improvement. So the connection here was established by knowledge management as a service initiative. So we yearly help that company in those services. Personal care and beauty company, here we used knowledge management to connect intelligence and innovation. So knowledge management model and tools, they wanted a knowledge hub, and the background processes, the back office processes of knowledge management to feed that knowledge hub for the marketing intelligence department to improve their contribution to product development and communication, market communication in this case. So it was an initiative led by marketing intelligence department, and used intelligence processes to capture knowledge and generate knowledge that helped innovation processes, productive development processes for that company. This one is intelligence and innovation as well, using technology road mapping, led by engineering and R&D departments. Here we have an energy generation and distribution company. in a knowledge management initiative that connected and articulated corporate education with the processes management. So here we help them to develop corporate university model and strategy and processes with knowledge management practices embedded in the educational program. Their priority was for people development, individual people development, but we could connect the learning to process execution. So instead of having a program that is purely theoretical and based on university subjects, the programs are based on processes. So the curricula are connect directly with processes management. They participated in the project. So the programs and the pathways for learning were integrated to process management. It's a part of the model of that corporate university. They earned a prize with that initiative. Here's a very interesting, and I will stop here. I have some more cases to share, but I will stop with this one that connects innovation and processes. Here is a food company here in Brazil. I can tell you that it's BRF. Here we worked with the R&D departments with knowledge management model and practices integrated into product development processes in order to increase and improve knowledge sharing and reuse within and between projects and departments. So nowadays, each product development cycle has knowledge management practices as part of the product development process. In each phase of product innovation project, they have particular KM practices using storytelling, community of practice, structuring procedures, structuring lessons learned, many techniques embedded into knowledge, into product development process. 2 weeks ago, it was highlighted on the media. Here it's a print of it. The highlight is BRF applies knowledge management into product development with some interesting results. 86% of knowledge mapped has reached more than 80% of dissemination and decentralization. We have identified some key critical knowledge for product development that was very susceptible, very vulnerable. And now, 3 years later, they have that maybe well disseminated and decentralized. And 89% of employees heard said they had obtained higher quality work results. So it's available in the media. And there are experiences as well that connect every process, every one of those processes. Here in this mining company, the integration with processes management is less mature than the other ones, but it's in its way. So I think I've talked enough here. This is what the insights I would like to share with you, and count on you for a little more reflection and critiques and feedbacks, and maybe more insights or more inputs on how can KM contribute to articulate diverse knowledge flows and impact value generation.
Thank you very much, Beto. We still have 5 minutes to maybe to have some additional question. I like very much your model, and it presents things in different and novel way, I will say. And I was also, based on the previous question, trying to think about what triggers these knowledge flows. And just by thinking out loud, I thought that, well, I think when there is a knowledge gap identification, that's where suddenly there is a need for this knowledge to flow. If this knowledge gap has not been, it's a kind of a trigger. It's a trigger to learn, for instance. So we know that, well, there is a new thing which is generative AI. Suddenly we need to train our employees about generative AI, right? So we have a gap in competencies, so we need to train our people. Or we have a gap in some technology like generative AI, and so how could it benefit our processes, or how could it support innovation? So I think this knowledge gap identification very often should be the trigger for this flow. You open the faucet, if you want, for the flow to get there. I don't know. I mean, this was just a way to look into it. Also, a quick comment on the training education part. Yeah, you just talk about the individual level, but I think if you really want to become a learning organization, you should also potentially do things at the team level and at the organizational level. So, I mean, I understand that few organizations go above this individual level, but potentially this could be also a valuable level to tackle. And last thing, in the academic world, we have this concept of organizational ambidexterity, where we say organization needs to balance the exploration and the exploration of new knowledge and exploitation of existing knowledge. And I think, I mean, some of your components fit very well into the exploration, which is the intelligence and the innovation, and the exploitation is more about maybe training and potentially your processes. So this could be another angle also to look at your model, but it reflects, I mean, a lot of, I mean, I like the way it's presented. Like I said, I personally never seen something presented that way, and it does make sense to me. Thank you.
Great, Vincent. Thank you.
Thank you. We have more question, I guess, or I can see the chat being filled up. Do you want to go through it, or do we have some live questions?
Let's go live. Anyone?
I was just very interested that the Central Bank of Brazil, they were involved with this process and you consulted. Maybe I will connect with them, or maybe I will ask you to go further with it. Thank you so much. It was great.
Yeah, thank you, Anahel. I can connect you to them. It's a pleasure.
Yes, please. Yes, because we are central bank. We have the same goals at some point.
Oh, great.
So yes, the same mission.
Wow,
so
sure.
Great. Okay.
Sure.
I really would like to congratulate. Sorry, Maria.
I also want to join in. I have also a customer who's the knowledge management of the Central Bank of Israel. So I already wrote about Anahit, and if in addition to people you know that are knowledge managers in other central banks,
yes,
please send Anahit and me the details. We would love to have a sub-community of knowledge management.
Yes, I'm interested in it. Yes. Thank you so much.
That would be great.
Yes, yes.
Invite me, please.
Yes. Thank you.
Yeah, so we don't have any more
would like to comment.
Yeah, we don't have any more questions in the chat, but you have a lot of congratulations. So it looks like your model appeals to a lot of the participants today, which is great. Any last question for Beto? We still have 1 minute.
Just keep going doing the case studies. I really love them. That's the best part of it, in my point of view. Thank you.
Thank you,
Vincent.
Yes.
I want to remind us all, I just even got 10 minutes ago a request to join the next meeting, the next session.
Yes.
Those who are on our research community group, they do not have to register. They are invited to all our sessions automatically. This is an ongoing community. So you can register if it helps you or makes you feel good, but no need.
Yeah, so the next event will be on April 10th with Larissa, which is with us today, and we'll talk about data thinking journey. I'm sharing once again our WeChat group. So if you are not part of it, please please join so to keep you updated. And if you want to watch again today's presentation again, it will soon be available on our YouTube channels. And well, thank you all for joining today. It was a great crowd, lots of very valuable questions. And yeah, feel free to connect with Beto directly, and I'm sure he will be delighted to answer any question you might have. Thank you all. Thank you, Maria,
thank you very
for
much, everyone.
joining. Thank you all for your valuable contribution, and see you on April 10th. Okay? Take care. Thank you all.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Bye.
Thank you so much. Bye.
Thank you, Beto.